episode 52?
51.
No, 51 was the last one.
Are you sure?
Yes, but I will go into Spotify and double check.
Where is it? There it is.
I'm almost certain.
This is what we're talking about.
Let's see. Yes, we are in episode 52 because episode 51 was where we got pissed off live.
Oh, that's right.
All right.
Yeah, I've already forgotten about it. That's how bad it was.
We're not going to speak of it again. It
only gets better because now we're on the Erickson episode. So there we go. Follow up shit with shit.
God damn it. All right. What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grindline Podcast. I am your host, Greg, and this is episode 52. We are actually joined by a special guest tonight. We have Sarah here, infamous memer and Twitter extraordinaire. Sarah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to chatting about the awards and whatever else shenanigans we come up with.
Exactly. And Ryan is also here with me tonight. Tyler could not make it because, Tyler. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm ecstatic to be on the Jonathan Erickson episode, so only bad things can happen from here, so let's do it.
See, I wasn't going to bring it up, but, we stopped after we tried to start doing player episodes, and we kept landing on terrible sweater numbers for players, just as like the Kyle Quincy, and it's just terrible stuff. Just wasn't working out, so... Now you made me depressed around the Jonathan Erickson episode.
It's been a week of depression, Greg. Let's not get over it.
Yeah. So we're going to be happy tonight, and we are going to talk about the Detroit Red Wings Awards, which this is the 6th annual now?
This is the 6th annual. I have no idea how that happened, but hopefully I'll get all the way up to at least 50, 100, 1,000, but we're going to start with 6.
When we're all robots in a dystopian apocalyptic future, we will be on the Red Wings Awards number 1012.
I like it.
When Michigan doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh yeah, so. I'll be going camp to camp, handing out flyers with memes printed out on them. That'll be my calling card.
Hopefully majority blash face.
Oh yeah.
We're going back to paper ballots, folks. Back to paper ballots. But it's great to have Sarah here with us now. Sarah, if you don't follow her on Twitter, you should. It is like a giant meme factory that she single-handedly runs. We were also told to tell you that you do have Red Wings fans in Brazil.
Yeah.
And they wanted to wish you a happy adulthood with your new house.
Oh, that's so nice. I know exactly what account you're talking about. I like to think the Red Wings have the best global fan base and CGI because Australia isn't real.
Yep.
As we all know, Australia is not real.
There's an upside down
from right out the bat.
Let's just get that out of the way.
Down from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And then Sarah, you also contribute to Winging It in Motown, don't you?
I do. I don't know why they let me keep writing. But I'm like I feel like I'm the Mickey Redman color commentary of the ginger ale shenanigans. I'm gonna keep saying shenanigans all night.
The bingo bango to Wing It Wing It in Motown.
I do. That's my job.
Cool. And the first thing I wanted to kind of ask you is, how did you arrive at your Twitter handle?
So I joined Twitter in 2011 as I'm not even sure what my first handle was. I was Space Brain Sarah for a while because I have an astronomy degree and that seemed to make sense. And then I was DC Wing 55 because Cronwall and I live in DC. But then I was walking across the Metro parking lot, which is very important to this story. Not really, but it's a fact. And I was like, my handle is so boring. I need to spice it up. And that was, if anyone remembers the famous helm injury that was nose/groin,
yes.
was reported, the nose groin injury. So I was thinking about Helm and how he's always hurt. And it was hemorrhoids. And I don't know why I came up with it. I don't know why I come up with half the things I do, but it seemed to all make sense. I had a cat. His name was Helmer. Helm was always hurt. it just seemed to make sense, and now I'm stuck with it. It's become the brand. There is no escape. I'm Helmeroids forever.
Yeah,
I
if you change
never
it,
knew this story, and I'm so happy to now find out how that happened.
if you change it, people would get rather depressed.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah, Helm's status as an active NHLer will have no impact on my handle. I can put everyone's minds at ease. Helmeroids is here to stay until Twitter shuts down.
Well, he's
next year.
currently only a semi-active NHLer, so we'll give him that.
He's elite, as we all know, and as
So
I am
you're-
required to say.
Did Rohan make you do that?
Fake Australia can't make me do anything, but there may have been some mild threats involved, koala bear related.
Okay. And you got to watch for koala bears. They're known to have syphilis. So well, we're going to start. You got nothing? Nothing on the koala syphilis?
Nope, just blank stare into space.
All right. Well, we're going to start on with our live on-air voting, basically, for the Red Wings Awards. So first up, as I can only assume is a tribute to Mickey Redmond, is the Bingo Bango Award for Best Goal of the Season. And I do like the choices. They were very good. It was Athanasiou's tribute to Ted Lindsay, Larkin's OT winner versus Toronto, Mantha getting his hat trick, and Zadina's first goal. Now, this one was really hard for me because, as some of the Twitter followers know, I fell asleep about 16 seconds before Zadina's first goal happened. I was like, nothing's happening in this game, and I fell asleep. And then I wake up and I look on my Twitter feed and I'm like, son of a bitch. Zadina scored his first goal, and I look at the timestamp. I'm like, yep, I fell asleep 16 seconds before that.
Nothing like the guy running the podcast account to pass out in the overtime.
Yeah, well, you know. So I had to stay faithful to my religion of Dylan Larkin, so I had to do Larkin's overtime winner versus Toronto.
Okay. I'll go with that. I'm going to be a little biased here, and I went with Mantha gets the Hattie because that was the first game that I saw them win in person all season, and that place was actually outstanding as an atmosphere for my first game, or like sixth game all year. So it also led to them picking sixth overall in the draft, but we're not going to talk about that because happy thoughts. So that's my vote.
Now, Sarah, do you vote on your own awards?
I do not vote on my own awards. I am also not involved in the nomination process. I pick what the awards are going to be, and then I have solicit people to join what I decide is very important, the nomination committee, capital letters. And then I have a random number generator pick from the list to select the committee to be as unbiased as possible. So there will be no accusations of ballot rigging. I will confess to you and anyone who listens, this is exclusive insider information, that sometimes everyone on the nomination committee nominates the same like 2 or 3 people or plays or hats or things. And so then I do stack the ballot with 2 or 3 other things that I think should be on there. So the Larkin's overtime goal is actually one of my picks. So that made the ballot because everyone else picked the same things. And I was looking for a Larkin goal video about a different goal, and I couldn't find it. So I found this one and decided it was pretty great. And that should be on the ballot. So there goes my unbiased nature.
Yeah, your partiality just went out the window.
I started off so well, and now I'm just a complete filthy liar by the end of that sentence.
On question 1, we've discovered that the entire awards is rigged.
So fallacy. You had me convinced for that first 30 seconds, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's American politics. That's what it is.
I start out with good intentions and no money, and I end with bad intentions and no money. So at least I'm not making any money off of this.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. But I think that Larkin overtime winner was the one that made me go back and look to just realize that Larkin has the nastiest leg fake in the entire league. Like, and you can watch it on a ton of his goals, is he'll go in and he leg fakes so hard and the goalies bite every time, and it's nuts.
Do you like Larkin's legs?
Yeah, man, he's got some sexy legs.
No big deal.
We're going to go on to question number 2, which is the 6 Seasons in a Movie Award for the Best Team Bromance. And this one was a little difficult because so the choices are Athanasiu and Larkin, Athanasiu and Bert, Bert and Larkin, Hronik and Zadina. Now I assume Hronik and Zadina are in there just because they're the Phillips.
Well, they're there
And-
because they're the Phillips, and they had that extremely emotional post-goal hug. That was like
So happy, so much
the friend
happiness in
hug.
that.
They did. You could have done a slow-mo to Celine Dion with that hug. It was great.
You
But
might. I want to see that now. Can
I
someone
can
make
do
that
it.
happen?
I don't have much going on at work tomorrow.
I may have.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do it to Celine Dion. I did a slow motion of that with music, and I cannot remember what
think
song I picked. No, it was Josh Groban. You know why? Because
Oh.
I actually bought the song because I could not get any other methods to work. I invested $1 into that video. So
You gave $1 to Josh Groban.
Wow.
on behalf of the Phillips. So
That's
Yeah.
dedication to the cause.
don't let that impact your vote.
So I'm going to
Jeez.
I paid for this one. Vote for that.
All I can think of is you lift me up right now, so that's how we're gonna go with this.
So I'm gonna go with Bert and Larkin because once they were rolling and then they got together on that line and they just destroyed everyone else. I think the Athanasiu Larkin relationship developed a little later, and I mean I can't ship AA and Bert, so I'm going Bert and Larkin.
I'm gonna go Bert and Larkin as well. I saw all the selections there. Hronik Zadina I liked because of the first goal, but the way Bert and Larkin, they're like little kids out there, and they're always so happy. So that was my vote, and I'm getting the weirdest look in the world right now from Chelsea.
I mean technically they are still little kids.
True, they're like quiet. You're supposed to help us, not criticize in the background.
So we'll go on to question 3 because I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. But question 3 is the 3-leaf clover award for the worst luck on the team. So I like all the choices. So Dennis Cholowski, Trevor Daley, Mike Green, Franz Nielsen, Michael Rasmussen. So on this one, I went Dennis Cholowski because he was so good the first half of the season, so good. And he was in conversation for awards and everything, and then they told him to get on the bus. So that's where I was at with that one, is Cholowski.
Okay,
Well, he's
I went
still in conversation for awards. They're just not good ones.
with.
This is the only award I think that he's in conversation for.
Yeah, so this one's tough for me, but I went with Mike Green. Just
of his
because he can't
Reoccurring zombie virus.
yeah, the death plague that he has going on. But he can't stay healthy. Every time he seemed to be back on track, then he'd die again. He's like one of those respawns that just kind of keeps going back to the level that you can't get past. That's what I attribute him to right now.
He's the respawn where you spawn and the person that killed you is standing at your spawn point and they kill you again.
It's like that episode of South Park with the dude that can't be beat.
Exactly. Now, Sarah, we're gonna let you be impartial again. Who has your worst luck on the team?
That's tough. I think I would go with Dennis Cholowski because it feels like it's not all his fault. Like he can't help it that he was really good and then he was not so good. And then Jeff Blashill was like mean to him or not. I think Jeff Blashill was mean to him. Personal attacks.
Yeah.
So that just feels like it was like, he just couldn't catch a break and then he disappeared.
No, I think he hit that freshman wall pretty hard.
Yeah.
Just things weren't going his way, and he wasn't scoring at the rate or assisting at the rate he was earlier. The other one I felt really bad for is I felt bad for Rasmussen because I think from like the 10th game he played forward, they played him completely wrong. They put him on lines with garbage, and nothing could happen for him. And he's supposed to be the Holmstrom. You're supposed to put him in front of the net. But they put him in front of the net, and then the guys on his lines couldn't get pucks to the net, so that made him pretty much useless. So I think he was a victim of circumstance because you had to put him somewhere, and you weren't going to demote the other guys who were doing well to fit Rasmussen in, and that kind of sucked for him too, but at least he made it on the team almost the whole season, minus being injured.
Mhm.
So the next award is the Hot and Ready Award, which is, of course, a tribute to Mike Ilitch, right?
This is an award that's been there since the beginning. So this is an original award, very dear to all of our hearts. So this predates LCA.
Well, the
Who was
picture's a
first
pile
winner?
of ashes.
Oh wow! I don't
So
think
that's why
that's
I
supposed
thought-
to be a
It
pile of
wasn't
ashes?
It
I
wasn't
thought it was
supposed to be
gunpowder.
It was like grit. Like I literally Googled grit because I didn't want to put a pizza box there.
Wow,
so-
way to take that dark, Greg.
Yeah, I thought
Jesus
the
Christ!
way I look at that as a Hot and Ready Award, and I see a pile of ashes, I'm like, oh, it's a tribute to Mr. I.
I
And
thought it
it's
was
like, oh.
gunpowder. What is wrong with you?
But this award is for the most heart, hustle, and grit has to be in capital letters every time you spell it. And the nominees were Tyler Bertuzzi, Luke Glendenning, Nick Cronwall, Dylan Larkin, and Luke Witkowski. Now, I'm giving this one to Bert because Bert has the heart, hustle, and grit and can actually put up points. So that is my votes for Tyler Bertuzzi, and he's doing it at a pretty impressive rate.
Yeah, I went with Bird as well. I know there's probably a lot of Luke Glendenning love for this type of award, but the trump card there is definitely the production piece. And then that's about really the only other one you can really put into that. Larkin could be right there as well, but Bert brings that extra level of I'm gonna punch you right in the face because I can. So that was me.
Now, Sarah, did you ever think about doing just the grit award and having all the choices be Luke Witkowski?
I have not given that consideration. I've only ever had one award have the same player nominated for every single, like 5 times. And that was, I think it was the MVP award either last year or the year before. And it was Henrik Zetterberg. And it was Henrik Zetterberg. It was Hank Zetterberg. It was Zeddy the Grizzly Teddy.
Big Z.
Yeah, so it was the voting was really, really close. I'm not sure I don't remember which Zetterberg won in the end. But they all did real well.
But all that matters is that in the end he won.
It was just, some awards are runaways, and then there's some awards where the nomination committee just refuses to nominate anyone but one person. So
Yeah.
I will
And you let
accept that.
You let it go through.
It's Zetterberg. He's special.
He's pretty.
So
Also,
the fifth award is the Torch and Pitchfork Award for Team Scapegoat.
Ooh.
Now this one, before I even read the nominees, I'm like, I know who it is, and if they're not there, I'm tweeting a write-in. So the choices were Justin Abdelkader, Jeff Blashill, Jonathan Erickson, and Ken Holland. And the scapegoat this season was Jeff Blashill. You go win games, and it's not Blashill's fault that you won. The players won despite him. They lose games, it's his fault that they lost. So I think he's shown development in the kids. The kids are all doing well under him. He's not the fault for bad contracts. That's Ken Holland. So Jeff Blashill single-handedly runs away with the Torch and Pitchfork Award.
While I agree with you that Blashill will win, because of my sheer hatred for Jonathan Erickson, that is who I voted for. He will forever be the worst, and I will vote for him in anything negative that I can. There is no fighting or changing my opinion on this. That is my vote.
All right. Whatever. I mean, my other part of this was Justin Abdelkader was invisible. So if you had like a Mrs. Fantastic award, Justin Abdelkader could win that. Or like the one guy that's invisible from Watchmen, he could win that award. But
I had that award a couple years ago, and I'll probably bring it back. It wasn't either of those names, but it was called the Speakerphone Award. And it was actually one of the first awards I thought of, and it was for the player who is heard but never seen. And I'm almost positive it was won by Stephen Weiss. to date that
he
year.
hasn't been seen since.
He also won,
also dark.
yeah. So that was his crowning achievement as a Red Wing, was winning a negative Red Wings award.
And still being on the payroll as of today.
Yes.
So
Stephen Weiss is Jimmy Hoffa.
yeah, and I don't think anyone's actually like seen him since.
No,
I don't.
see,
I haven't
coincidence?
seen
No.
no news about him. Nothing. It's like he almost never existed.
Mm-hmm.
He lives on in our hearts as long as we're all around to be mad about it.
And the
Hopefully,
Red
he
Wings
lives
payroll.
on in physical form somewhere. Because I hope he's still around.
We're going dark again real
So,
quick.
okay, then we're gonna move on. Next award is the Phoenix Award for the most improvement since last season. That goes to A. Athanasiou, Tyler Bertuzzi, Danny DeKeyser, Nicholas Cronwall, or Anthony Mantha. Now, I was surprised that Larkin was also not included in this category. But again, I have to vote for Tyler Bertuzzi because he went from a third, fourth line grinder guy right up to the end of the season as a first line dude who's literally in on every goal. He had an amazing stretch of like, what was it, like 8 points in 5 games or something.
Yeah.
And then he broke that record where he scored like multiple points in like 4 straight games, like 3+ points in 4 straight games or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That
Bert
Yzerman's
is
mark.
it was either Yzerman's or Fedorov's, but Bert was killing it.
Yeah, he
So I'm
beat
gonna say-
Yzerman's mark of 3 straight and 3 points in 3 straight. He did it 3 points in 4 straight.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Bertuzzi is the most improved since last season.
Yeah, I went a different route, and I think it's partly because of the way he stepped up toward the second half of the season. I went with Athanasiou. The fact that he scored 30 goals blew me away. I was not expecting that from him, even though it's probably always been there. He just never got to that point. But the way I think he kind of took over as a 2C for this team and kind of an all-around guy, it made me believe a little bit more. As long as he can keep that going, I think they're in a really great spot with him and Larkin going down the middle if he can actually maintain a full 200-foot game. So I like just the way he played, but it was between him and Bert for me. If Mantha would have been healthy, I think it probably would have been him, in my opinion.
Sarah, do you have a favorite?
I don't really have a favorite, but I will say that last year's winner was Larkin, and that he was on some ballots of the nomination committee. So he took massive strides forward last year and more this year. But how much room did he really have to improve? Because he was already elite last year.
Oh, come on.
Well, he can't win every single award.
He could win every single award. He would just have to be nominated.
And he may. Everyone will have to tune in to find out. But yeah, sorry, Larkin. But some people did think of him.
Okay, it's good that he's in people's memories, I guess. So for the 5th Gear Award, the most clutch player, we've got Athanasiou, Bertuzzi, Jimmy Howard, and Dylan Larkin. And I'm giving this to Jimmy Howard because everyone shit on Jimmy Howard this year, and it's not fair. Leave Jimmy Howard and his dad bod alone.
He does bring dad bod to the front and center of epicness, especially for a professional athlete. Golfers don't count.
No.
To see him pull it off as a professional hockey player and a goaltender, I envy that, man.
Who's your 5th Gear Award, Ryan?
I went Larkin. When I thought clutch, I mean, yeah, Jimmy kept him in so many games this year, but when you really needed a goal or an offensive spark or even a defensive spark for that matter, Larkin seemed to be involved in every single play. So for me, that was a no-brainer.
Larkin was the Red Wings this year. I mean,
yeah,
every play, I would say probably 90% of plays that happened, probably 70% of goals that were scored, Larkin in some way had something to do with it. So he is the Red Wings this year, and I could give you most clutch too for Larkin, but I'm trying to vary up my choices a little bit.
Fell out.
So hey, so we're gonna request more Jimmy Howard memes. That's what we're gonna need more of. We got enough Larkin. We need some Jimmy Howard memes for his last year on the team. So we're gonna put those a request into the factory.
I'm sure we can accommodate that. He is really fun, or at least the personality I've decided he has makes him very fun to meme.
Good. So the next award is the Sunshine Award for the nicest smile. Now, see, we get awards like this that have nothing to do with hockey skill whatsoever, and it's phenomenal. And I like the picture of the rainbow unicorn cat with upside down butterfly wings. It's really good. So
Oh, I just now realized those are upside down.
yeah.
Oh.
On a side note, and this is just completely random, my daughter loves The Hungriest Caterpillar. If you've ever read that book, it's an
Wow.
old Eric Carle book from like elementary school. And I noticed the other day that in the part where the caterpillar turns into a butterfly, that butterfly's wings are also upside down. So apparently no one knows what butterflies look like. But
Maybe we've had it wrong this whole time.
Maybe they're Australian. You don't know.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's another
maybe the
fair point.
butterflies are actually wrong. So for the nicest smile, the nominees were Tyler Bertuzzi, Nick Cronwall, Dylan Larkin, Mickey Redmond, Luke Witkowski. Now, I believe I gave this one to Mickey because Mickey's just the most cheerful guy, always smiling, got his ginger ales. I gave this one to Mickey. He deserves an award.
This should be a slam dunk for Mickey, to be quite honest. Those pearly whites every time they're on the TV. Oh, yep, Mickey wins it.
Yeah, I got to put shades on whenever Mickey smiles. Now, did you inject any choices in here, Sarah? Did you inject any of your choices in this?
No, I did not actually. I know what you're thinking. I know you're thinking that I am the one who picked Nicholas Cronwall, and I would have.
I was totally
but someone else actually nominated him. So.
Deflect and deny. Deflect and deny.
but
yeah. So you would vote for Cronwall, though. That's your vote.
I would vote for Cronwall out of bias, but if I was trying to be like a good voter, I probably would also vote for Mickey because while Cronwall's smile makes me very happy to see someone, it's like, oh, good, he's not depressed today. With Mick, it's like, oh, I feel like so safe and like comforted and like everything is going to be okay.
It's like your grandpa smiling at you. That's what it is. It's like a nice grandpa smiling at you.
Everyone's grandpa. If you don't have a grandpa, now you do. When he looks in the camera and he winks and he smiles, it's going to be okay.
For all of you listening, if you do not have a grandpa, Mickey Redmond has volunteered to be your grandfather. I'm sure there's a mailing address for him online somewhere. You can write him letters. He'll probably write back. I feel like Mickey'd be a guy that would write back.
I feel like we're going to get a cease and desist letter.
If I haven't already gotten a cease and desist letter from a player, you guys probably have a long way to go before you'll get one.
Yeah, I mean, I've never gotten a cease and desist letter over any.
And I deserve one. I deserve multiple ones.
I've gotten one cease and desist letter, and it was not involved with hockey. So the next award is the Sandlot Award for Most Exciting Prospect. And when my wife saw this picture, she's like, oh my God, she used this picture. And she did the whole arm flail thing. And it is the little, if you haven't seen the video of the little kid playing hockey, it's the funniest thing ever. So it's him down on one knee, and literally his quote is, "Let me go, you old fart can," or "you old fat can," and it's hilarious. And you need to go watch it.
Was he 4 or 5?
Yeah, he's like 4 years old.
Yeah,
and he just wants McDonald's. After the game, they're going to McDonald's. So for the most exciting prospect, we have Dennis Cholowski, Taro Hirose, Philip Larson, Joe Veleno, and Philip Zadina. So we've got 2 of our Phillips per 60 on here. But for most exciting prospect, I'm going to go with Joe Veleno. And the Cult of Veleno. If you haven't bought the shirt, the Cult of Veleno shirt is out there. I made a nice logo for it. But I'm going to go with Joe Veleno because what he's doing in the queue is nothing short of miraculous. And I think he's your solid second line center coming up. Because I still don't think we know exactly what to expect from Zadina yet.
Fair. I would also agree with you. I looked at Cholowski, Hirose, and Zadina. They all saw time on the team this year, so I kind of took out their prospect status, even though they're still technically that. Larson, he hasn't played. I mean, he's been having a great couple of years coming through the ranks, and now he's just got signed on as an amateur tryout with Grand Rapids. But the way Veleno has been in the spotlight, that again is another slam dunk, in my opinion.
And he's just doing it every night. Like Veleno, every night you see like 5 tweets like, "Oh, he scored, got another assist. There goes Joe Veleno."
Well,
But-
you see a lot of French, and then you look for the name.
Yeah,
Valeno.
I started looking for his picture,
Translate tweets.
and then I'm like, "Oh, look, French." And then I remember I have to go rile up some Habs fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Joe Veleno's probably a runaway for that. But congratulations to Philip Larson on signing his entry-level deal with the Red Wings and then getting to go to Grand Rapids to watch some playoffs and giving us what will be the highest Philip per 60 in the league whenever he comes on. Because we will have 3 Phillips hopefully on the ice all at the same time. And it's just exciting to think about. So for 10, we have the Proper Topper Award. Now this one is out of left field, which is the best hat. So I'm going to do my best right here to describe these hats. And you've got Bertuzzi with the blackout hat. So that's the black logo on the black hat, which I think is a killer hat because from far away, you don't know there's a logo on there. And you get close up, you're like, oh shit, there's a logo on there. Then you've got Bert with the Detroit versus Everybody shirt, or hat, classic. You've got DK with the tricolor, so it's white back, black front, red stripe above the brim with the logo. You've got Larkin with the camo hat, Red Wings logo, American flag, very America of him.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Rasmussen with, now this hat I thought was kind of weird. It's a black hat. The wheel is black, but the wing is white.
I just
that's
noticed
a little
that,
different.
and it fucked with me hardcore.
You thought it was just the wing, didn't you?
I did, and I just zoomed in on it. I was like, no.
Yeah.
So
So it's like
Well
they took
played.
the black on black, but made the wing white. And then you've got Witkowski with what I like to call the TV has no signal hat. It's a gray, fuzzy gray hat with a gray and black and white logo. And for this, I thought it was almost kind of unfair because Bertuzzi's on here twice. So
Well, I didn't want him to be on there twice, but I couldn't deny either of those hats, and I couldn't find those hats on anybody else. So hands were
Nope.
tied.
a little bummed
All
that
right.
a Larkin hockey school didn't make it on here.
Oh yeah, and I think at least once a month I tweet at Larkin, hey, where do I get one of them Larkin hockey school hats? And he never answers me.
I'm still
It's
waiting
kinda
for
sad.
my Dan Cleary hockey hat. So
Mm.
If you put that on, your head instantly bursts into flames.
Zetterberg
eyes-
could wear. Zetterberg pulled it off, but he's a
He has
miracle.
godlike
so.
power.
Swedish, and yeah, that's all. He's Swedish. That's all there is to it.
If you put on that Cleary hat, your eyes start degrading.
Just the one starts going.
So I voted for Bert with the Detroit versus Everybody hat just because in the picture he just looks so happy.
Hmm.
I think that's the only picture where the person talking doesn't look depressed, and I'm
They did.
attributing the depression to the hats that they're wearing.
See, I'm going with the. I'm going to show my bias and go with the Larkin camo hat.
Oh
Nope.
yeah, I should have
Yep.
known you would, Ryan, and your
Yeah.
army.
Yeah, well, you know. So that was my vote because I mean I love the heather gray one that Witkowski's wearing, but it's Witkowski.
The static.
So I won't-
So the static TV is your second choice.
yeah, it would be.
All right.
So I have to
But-
confess on this one. I some of those are my choices because it was the first unique, it might even be the only actual unique award this year that has never been done. I'm not creative anymore. But I thought of this, back in September. And so every once in a
Okay.
while during a post-game interview, I would just take a snap and drag it to the folder and be like, remember that hat, go get a better picture later. And then I never went and got a better picture. I just used the ones that I had. And
They
that's where
work.
the like, mindfuck hat came from. That was one of mine because I've never seen it anywhere else ever. And it should not exist. But it's bold, so it made it. And I needed to make a nice grid that was so have that many pictures on it.
And
So
who knew they had so many hats?
now you know. See, I'm educational programming.
I need to tag.
Put
So
that-
when I upload this podcast, I need to tag it as
Educational.
informative and educational.
Where's my government grant for educational programming?
I'll make sure to submit this to at the government at government.
Oh wait, I live in Washington. I could just like walk down the street to the government and knock
Yeah.
on the door and slide a printout.
Put it on a
Like-
just a
Yeah.
transcript of the entire podcast. And just slide it under the door.
I'm just gonna put it National Archives. Just slide it in. No one will know. It'll be
But,
there forever.
So
So-
for question 11, we've got the Traitor Award for most traitorous, and I'm not even going to read you the list. It's Marian Hossa. Because the choices are Justin Abdelkader, Pavel Datsyuk, Sergei Fedorov, Marian Hossa, Peter Mrazek, and it's Marian Hossa because it's Marian Hossa.
I didn't even know how to really take this award because Abdelkader being on there completely threw me off. So I immediately voted for him just because he pissed me off so much this season. He turned into my Eriksson. So this is where throughout this year. So I voted for Abdelkader because he has just sucked. But I would agree Hossa is probably also going to win this one. If you vote for Fedorov, you're just a jerk.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, technically, Fedorov would be the most traitorous, but it's still Marian Hossa because fuck Marian Hossa. That's why.
There's a side that I have not seen come out of you yet. I didn't know you had so much anger for him.
Sarah, has Hossa won every year?
Not every year.
Most years.
He has won most years. Steve Yzerman won 1 year.
Oh,
I can't
when he
remember.
left.
Yeah,
when he
it was when he left. I can't remember if Mike Babcock won 1 year. He's won
for
other.
leaving-
He's won some other awards, and I know he's been on the ballot. I did not stack the ballot for this one. If I was going to stack it, I would have removed Marian Hossa because I am. So, breaking news. I'll announce this formally during the awards, but I'm like 99% sure that this award will no longer be called the Traitor Award. It will be called the Marian Hossa Award.
Oh, good.
Yes, look at that.
If he wins,
Marian Hossa
if he
Award
wins
for most
one more
traitorous.
time, if he wins one more time, it's over. He will
Okay.
be declared forever champion.
And the picture should just be his big smiling face.
Is this how Adam Schefter feels getting insider information like this?
Well, what's weird is that so I posted this on Winging It in Motown and being like, "Hey, go vote," and people in the comments there, they were really mad about this award. They were like, none of those choices made sense, and I'm like, well, who else? And I guess it's your interpretation of what a traitor is, and yes, it has to be spelled Tradur. That's really important. This is another original award. So I don't know what their definition of traitorous is. Mine is that it's like a legacy. It's not just someone who shoots the puck into their own net by accident or on purpose.
Justin Abdelkader is a traitor because he used to be okay and now he sucks and he's making a lot of money to do nothing.
He was the MVP in 2015 of the Red Wings Awards, as voted by the people. This is how far he's fallen. And when I forget, I go back in my folder and I'm like, oh my God, he actually was voted MVP at one point. He was the hero of this team over everyone else. And now we're here. Where
Yes.
even the
Now
beat
he's
writers
right.
are throwing him under the bus.
And now he's that gif of the floating dumpster on fire. That is Justin Abdelkader. But Pavel Datsyuk, of course, you could say he's a traitor because he left for Russia with years left on his contract and whatever. Fedorov because he took the same money to go somewhere else because they offered him more term. Hossa because we let Hossa walked and we signed Franzen. And then Franzen got hurt and we don't have Franzen. So that's Hossa's fault. And then Peter Mrazek because he was so... Basically, it's the Justin Abdelkader situation. He was so good and then he sucked and got traded. So...
Except
now he
has a redemption arc with someone else. There is no redemption for Justin Abdelkader other than being a nice person, a good human being. But other than that, he's the worst.
Now, to Justin Abdelkader's credit, and going back to, I guess, my child, she loves his book. We have his book called like Shoot for the Goals or something, and it's the only book like she'll sit through.
Advice.
Yeah, he should take his own advice. But we got it signed at Toast to Hockey Town, so she has a signed copy of Justin Abdelkader's book, and it's phenomenal. But he should go into children's publishing and lay off the hockey, probably. So the MVP award for the most valuable player of the team goes. The choices are Athanasiou, Bertuzzi, Larkin, and Howard. And I don't know how you don't pick Dylan Larkin for this. Dylan Larkin was nearly at a point per game pace this season. He, like I said earlier, he was in almost every play, and Dylan Larkin was the Red Wings. He's the MVP this year.
If anyone chose anything but Larkin, I'll be amazed. This could be your only unanimous vote on the entire page. I mean, I could see Howard making a small push, but there's no way anyone other than Larkin should be getting a vote on this one. The future.
Well,
captain.
it is not unanimous.
What?
I am obviously not going to reveal the winner right now, but it is not unanimous. I'm not saying it's close, but I'm saying it's not unanimous.
Well, I can see some slappies voting for Athanasiou because they think he's the second coming, but
our Facebook users a lot on this because this is where it could get fucked up.
Unfortunately, this is a public link, so anyone could get in. Any riffraff, Facebook, Habs fans, any of this riffraff. If there's suddenly 8,000 votes for Joe Veleno, I'm gonna know that it got to Habs Twitter.
Oh god, yeah, it's like the only thing they can say to us, Joe Veleno. There's literally, I think there's a Habs fan whose entire Twitter account is dedicated to Joe Veleno, and I'm like, well, shouldn't it be dedicated to it's like Joe Veleno. It's like at Joe Veleno is the best player ever. XOXO, and I think it's his whole life is dedicated to Joe Veleno. And Joe Veleno wasn't even drafted by the Habs, so I don't understand.
God.
So number 13 is the Spare Parts Award for the player who wasn't nominated for another award but deserves nice things. And it's Bernier, Christopher N., Darren Helm, Philip Hronek, and Gus Nyquist.
Oh.
But Philip Hronek was nominated for something else.
Oh, he's a bromance, but that doesn't count.
Oh, okay. So my vote would be Philip Hronek because I feel like he brought himself together toward the end of the season, and he looks like he could be a legit second defenseman on the team. If you end up getting him and Cholowski develops like a lot of us hope he does, your 1-2 is Cholowski Hronek, and that's crazy. And Hronek's got the offensive power, and he'll jump up into plays, and he just really rounded out, I think, his defensive game towards the end of the season. He's looking like he's going to be spectacular.
See, I took this toward the elite center in Darren Helm. Just because
God.
He seems like such a great person, but he's just kind of there. And then you hope he's going to do something great, but then it doesn't happen. But then he smiles, and it's kind of like, oh, it's okay. You're a nice guy. So you're welcome, Rohan. I'm on your side in this vote. Don't blow up the United States.
Yeah, please keep your torture of our country to a minimum. Thank you.
How
do they even have internet in Australia?
They are the internet.
Oh no!
That's all they are. They don't have anything but the internet.
Australia is anonymous. The whole country, or continent, or both.
Giant flat landmass. It's perfect.
It's a prison colony, Ryan. It's a prison colony.
So is Twitter. So
no, Twitter is just a prison. It's like we're all doomed to live there forever. But do you have a favorite on this one, Sarah?
I do, and it's Christopher N. because I don't know, he wasn't supposed to even exist. True. And he was supposed to just he was supposed to kind of just show, and that's where this award came from, because this started last year, and the winner was Martin Ferk, because last year Martin Ferk just kind of showed up and was supposed to be there for like a minute and then have the decency to leave and never be heard from again. But he didn't. He stuck around, and it was like, oh, yeah, he's all right. And I just kind of have a soft spot for Christopher N. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what number he is on the team. I don't know how old he is. I know he kind of looks like Tilda Swinton.
He does.
Like who?
The male Tilda Swinton. That's nuts.
But I just think of him, and I always think of Kyle, another writer for Winging It Motown. Every time Christopher N does anything, he posts this picture of Gordon Ramsay saying, "Actually, I quite like it." And that's what I'm not sure that's exactly the quote is, but it's that. And I just keep thinking about that every time I think Chris Friend, because it's like, oh yeah, he's actually like, I kind of like that. Yeah, I'm all right with that. And so that's why he would get my vote if I was voting, which I'm not.
He's I met him at Tosa Hockey Town. He's a super nice guy. He's what you'd expect. He's very quiet. He doesn't talk much. But he's just that dude that's kind of there. And it's nice to have a guy like that, right? It's just kind of there.
And that's what this award is all about. The guys who are there.
And I will tell you that he is number 70 and he is 23 years old. Those are the things we know about Christopher N. He's also 6'3" and 181 pounds.
He's 6'3"?
Yeah, he's a very tall lad.
Huh. See, we're all learning things tonight.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the last award. Now, the one thing I wanted to ask about before we end the podcast tonight was there was the infamous Shitbox Award that was deemed too mean for the Red Wings awards, right?
Yeah, and
what?
I knew this was going to come up. So the awards started in 2014 because I just decided the NHL awards were stupid and the Red Wings never won enough of them and they were boring.
You're correct.
So 2014, I had just started editing, and let's be clear, I'm not good at editing images. However, I have a little too much free time. So I decided that the first year there were 19 awards, which was too many for me to handle. And they were all pretty much ridiculous. And some of them were mean. There was the Loaf Award, which was for the worst forward, because I found this like weird looking loaf of bread with giant eyes that I thought would be great. And then there was the Shitbox Award,
which was the golden poo from American Dad.
It was the golden poo from American Dad, bejeweled naturally. Yep. And it started because Eriksson was and continues to be called Shitbox, Riggy Shitbox. So that's kind of how the awards actually all started, was talking about him being a shitbox. And I think I was like, oh, I sense a Photoshop award coming. And then it became, here we are 6 years later with this whole production. So he was the initial, he has not always won it. Kyle Quincy was the shitbox once.
Yeah.
But then Quincy redeemed himself and Eriksson was the shitbox once again.
Well, Quincy redeemed himself by leaving.
How dare you slander our bagel-loving hero, Kyle Quincy? I wish we had Quincy this year with our defense, but in any case,
round pick.
So he was a well-deserved shitbox. But then I did 1 year of the Tigers Awards, and some of them were mean. And then I kind of started feeling bad. Like, what if I actually ever met a player? And was and they
found out that they won the shitbox.
And like
award.
I have a friend on Twitter who I've gone to some Wings game with, and she is the biggest Eriksson fan. Like, I've taken a picture of her with Eriksson. I'm like, oh my God, I hope Eriksson doesn't think I don't like him as a person. I don't like him as a hockey player, but as a person, I'm sure he's wonderful.
Yeah.
And he has like a lovely
family.
Nice, he's like pretty and he's tall and he has a nice family, but I'm sorry, he's bad at hockey. The thing he's supposed to do. But he's bad at that.
I think my Twitter quote was, "The Swedes are all our friends. They're all very nice people. It's just not. It's not his fault he's bad at hockey. He was literally drafted like last overall. So
he was Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah. So he was good the playoffs that one time, and he came in as a black ace, and then he's been terrible ever since. But he is the reason the Red Wings awards exist. If Eriksson was not terrible at hockey, we would not be having this conversation. So thank you, Jonathan Eriksson, for inspiring the brand. Riggy Shitbox himself. But the award has been retired. It was retired, I think, 3 years ago. It is not coming back. Trying to stand by being
Nice.
playfully mean,
Nice.
not outright mean. Because Zetterberg and Erickson are probably friends, and I can't be mean to Zetterberg's friends. He could yell at me, and then I'd hurt my feelings forever.
I don't think Zetterberg could ever yell at anyone.
No. I don't
He
think
could,
that's
he could give you.
He
power.
could
He could give you a
worse.
stern. He could give you a stern talking.
That's
to.
worse. He could give me a dad glare, and I can't handle that.
Yeah.
I'm very fragile. So
Your heart would explode or something. It'd be like,
no more being really mean. We're keeping the meanness in the memes. I know I'm a huge hypocrite. I won't have a shitbox award, but I'll have the meanest memes of all time.
Good.
But it's different.
We'll
As
keep
long as
our,
those stay around, we'll be all right.
the thing is that they won't be able to understand half the memes anyways. Only we'll know they're mean, and that's all that matters.
It's kind of like art, right? It's expressionism.
Exactly. That's why I made that picture of Ken Holland holding Babcock as a unicorn. So, but I think that's going to wrap up our podcast for tonight. We would like to thank Sarah for coming on and being with us and running through our shenanigans and explaining some choices. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for having me, and everybody, make sure Saturday, 4:20, 6
Believe
p.m.,
it.
6:30 p.m. I don't remember what time I said. I think it was 6. I'm a great host. 6 p.m. Eastern time. Follow me on Twitter, Helmerites, and use the hashtag DRW Awards to follow along, comment, look at previous year's awards, have a good time, or don't. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not your mom, but I will be tweeting out a link to the awards when this episode is posted, hopefully tomorrow, while I edit it at work while I'm supposed to be doing actual work. So I will tweet out a link with that tomorrow. Ryan, give us your Twitter handle.
Ryan33.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Bringing the Wing. Kind of. I really don't use it anymore because I'm exclusively tweeting from at GrindlinePod, which is our Twitter handle. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, literally anywhere you can find podcasts. I'm pretty sure we're on there now. I just submitted our application to radio.com. We're on TuneIn. We have a Redbubble store. You can go on and get merch. So if you go to redbubble.com and you type in the Grindline, you will find our merch shop where you can buy a mug that says Stanley on it. So you can have your very own Stanley cup. I also made a pretty shirt with a, basically looks like the top of a beer can with a wing, and it says "My team makes me drink." It's very nicely designed. But all the money from that goes to helping us fund our podcast and getting Ryan a better microphone because he's on the struggle bus. You can so subscribe to us, like us, send us messages on Twitter. But for the crew, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.